They can't even move the pieces correctly. They're going so quickly here. They're moving so quickly. We can't even keep up now. He's got to check. He's going to get a queen on the board. Has he got enough time? He's getting the extra queen.
He's got 6 seconds.
6 seconds to win this.
The
Anything's
hands are
possible.
flying.
There's rooks off the board. Queens off the board.
What is happening?
It's all over the
It's
shop
just
here.
Scramble.
Oh my
2
word.
seconds.
What is it? Oh my God.
And that's it. Oh my God.
Oh, let the clock. 0 versus 1. I don't know what happened there. I couldn't keep up with that. That gave me heart palpitations. I need to check my heart rate. Give me the heart rate monitor.
Hey everyone. For my final project, I selected the topic of speed chess. Speed chess is a format where players have a limited amount of time to make moves. A clock for each player counts down the seconds when it is their turn to move. To win the game, a player must checkmate their opponent before their clock runs out, or otherwise make moves fast enough to stay in the game and flag their opponent. I have selected some of the top-rated players on chess.com and will try to determine who most often prevails when the clocks run low. The focus of my analysis is on the time scramble. Toward the end of the game, with seconds on the clock, players make a series of lightning-fast moves, which usually ends in one player either running out of time or making a game-ending blunder. So who is the time scramble champion? I downloaded over 300,000 games from the top speed chess players on chess.com in order to create a virtual tournament that compares the number of wins for each player. I used the chess.com API to download a list of available game archives for each player. Each archive is a link to the API, which returns a JSON file with game data by month and year. Clock data is stored in the JSON file as a long single string of value. In order to extract any data from it, I first have to parse it into a usable structure. I found a special module in Python that helps me do this. Using this, I was able to get the clock data for each move for both players in the game. Here's an overview of the data flow that I used for my analysis. First, I downloaded all the games from chess.com and store them in a game collection in MongoDB. Next, I parse out the PGN, process it to extract the clock data, and store it in a separate clocks collection. I use a special transformation to create another collection for each player. I will talk more about this later, but it just makes it easier for me to access the game and merge it in the clock data. Lastly, I query the database, selecting only the games I want to analyze and merging them into a single data frame for each player with the clock data. Some additional processing and filtering, and I am left with a heap of data that is ready for final analysis. All this manipulation may seem complicated and unnecessary, but I, as a human, don't want to sit around for hours calculating and recalculating the same thing over and over. By storing data at various stages in MongoDB, I only have to download the games once, and I can front-load the most expensive operations, such as parsing out the clock data. It also gives me a lot of flexibility. I can use queries to load different slices of data and experiment with varying parameters for analysis. One of the problems I encountered with MongoDB is making sure that I didn't store the same game twice, creating duplicate data and skewing my results. I prevented this by storing all games in MongoDB with the universal unique ID used by chess.com, instead of the one that Mongo just automatically generates and assigns. Here's a look at that game data transformation I mentioned earlier. With the data as structured by chess.com, a simple question like "what games did Hikaru win?" is confusing and complicated to script. The player game transform flattens it out to make it easier to read from a single player's perspective. This is the final step of preparation. I put all the games by all players that meet my analysis parameters into a single data frame. For this tournament, I want games with a 3-minute time control and that have more than 10 moves in under 10 seconds. This is how I define a time scramble. So here we go. The data is lined up and the tournament can begin. I start by creating the pairings. This just takes the list of players and creates the 10 pairs of unique opponents. Then I make a new data frame for each pairing, which includes only those games that both players played. These are simply the ones with the same game UUID. Next, I take the value counts of the results column. This tells me how many of each type of result there was for each player. Value counts is a special function that allows us to quickly chart results. Finally, I filter out everything but the wins and can report on the winner of each pairing by the number of wins. Here are the champions of the tournament. It looks like Hikaru has the most wins, Ali Reza comes in second, and the rest are tied for third. Congratulations, Hikaru Nakamura. Okay, one last thing. This tournament only looks at games with a 3-minute time control, no interval. I am going to attempt a live demonstration of how I can run this analysis with other time controls, possibly adjusting the definition of a scramble. Stick around if you have time, but if not, I wish you all a good winter break and hope to see you next quarter. Switching over to PyCharm for the demonstration. Okay, here is the live demo for the Time Scramble Clock Data Tournament. So we start off by defining the players that we want to participate. We have Hikaru, Alireza, Danya, Jose, and Bortnik. The bulk of the code here doesn't need to be run unless I change the player names. So we can scroll past all of this, storing the clock. Here we are at the analysis, and this is where we can start making changes. Okay. So first up, I am going to try changing the time control. Instead of a 3-minute time control, if I run this, you can see that it will list the players that I've selected and show me all the time controls that these players have all played. So looking at the list of time controls, the first thing I'm going to try is using a 180 plus 1, which means a 1 second increment. The increment just means 1 second is added to their clocks for every move that they make. Simply use here, I define it as game type plus 1. We'll run this and we'll see what we get. Okay, the games are starting to roll in. We have 3,000 games for Hikaru. We have 1,700 for Alireza. 25 seconds later, here we are, and all the games have been processed. So then we simply run the concluding analysis. This just shows me raw percentages for the number of games that they've won. But what I'm interested is in the head-to-head stats here. So I'll go ahead and run this, and the results are already in. We have Alireza having played 4 games against Hikaru, and they were tied, and so forth, and you get the stats. So let's try some other time controls. The other thing that I might want to try is to adjust the bin sizes, and the bins are defined here under the Scrambles section, and here you see that I cut up all of the clocks into the 0 to less than 5 seconds, 5 to 10 seconds, and so forth. So down here is where I can define a threshold for the number of moves. In this case, I have less than 5 plus 5 to 10, which equals less than 10 seconds. Let's just simply remove the 5 to 10 and only look at games that were less than 5 seconds. I go back up here and I can run this again and we'll see what we get. Okay, 24 seconds later, and I can complete the concluding analysis. Well, here it looks like there weren't that many games that resulted in a scramble. For Hikaru and Danya, it didn't happen at all. And down here for Hikaru and Bortnik, it looks like all of them were draws. Not a lot of data here to draw conclusions on, so let's go back up and try again. The first thing I'll do is I'll expand my range again to under 10 seconds, 10 moves under 10 seconds. Let's look at games in which there were 20 moves under 10 seconds and see what that gives us. Okay, so everything checks out, 24 seconds, and we can go ahead to our concluding analysis. I go ahead and run this, and let's see what we got. As I expect, there's fewer games with 20 moves under 10 seconds as opposed to 10 moves under 10 seconds. Hikaru and Danya didn't have a scramble with 20 moves under 10 seconds, but not a lot of wins. So let's go back and try one more. I'm going to go and look at, we've been looking at blitz games, so I'm going to change it to a bullet game, which is a time control in which you have 60 seconds or 1 minute on the player's clocks. So let's go ahead and hit put in the 60 seconds for the time control, and let's see what we get. Uh-oh, looks like we have a value error. Bin edges must be unique. And And I'm looking at this, and I notice that we have two settings in the bins for 60 seconds, and this makes a lot of sense. I'll go ahead and go back up to the line that occurred in. And of course, because this right here is the last bin, and that would be equal to the game time. So in the case of Bullet, it's 60 seconds, and here we already have a bin for 60 seconds. So the simple solution is just to get rid of that bin. Not a problem. Let's try that again. Another error. It's saying bin labels must be one fewer than the number of edges. Let's look at the traceback for that. And I see. So I'm defining custom bin labels. Since I removed the 60 seconds, I need to get rid of one of these bin labels. I guess the one would be the 30 to 60. All right, made that change. One more shot at this. Let's see what we get. For Bullet, I would imagine that a lot of games result in a time scramble since there's only 60 seconds to complete the game. So this might be a situation where I might want to reduce that threshold to something like 10 moves under 5 seconds. 1 minute and 43 seconds later, this makes sense. There was probably a lot more Bullet games played because they're a shorter game format. So let's see what we got with our concluding analysis. Yeah, as I expected, there are quite a few number of wins with the threshold set to under 10 seconds. 1/6 of the total game. One of the things I might want to do is set up a parameter for the count moves in the Scramble. And it really isn't necessary to have this complicated number of bins. I imagine I could simply put in the 3 different bins, and set up a parameter for that as well. It's almost tempting for me to go ahead and do that now, because it certainly would make things a lot cleaner. So we have game type, we have the clock threshold, and we'll set that to 10 seconds, and so that we know what that means. And then we have the move, and then we have the move threshold, and we will set that to 10 as well, but label that as moves so that we understand what that means. We can take the clock threshold and the move threshold and move them down into the code here so that we can more clearly see what's going on. So clock threshold goes in here, and we just have the 3 bins. My labels I would have to change as well, so we call that threshold, and that to be the game start, we can call that, I suppose. Okay, and then we just simply need to set this to be our threshold. This is move threshold. There we go. And not sure if this is going to work, but let's give it a try and see what happens. We have a time control of 60 seconds, clock threshold of 10 seconds, and a move threshold of 10. So far, so good. It looks like things are possibly working. There is definitely a key error here, of course, because I didn't change the labeling on this. So this, I believe that we called it threshold, and we don't need to add these together because we're just using the 3 bins. Okay, let's try that again. Okay, 1 minute and 41 seconds later, we have our data frame set up, and we can begin our concluding analysis. So let's give it this I expect to work with no problem. And wow, it looks like with the Bullet time control, we have quite a number of games that resulted in a win with the 10-second clock threshold and 10-second move threshold. So there we go. I think this concludes my live demonstration. Thanks for sticking around, and good luck next quarter.